Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
Everyone wants to be rich, right? But how do you really do it? Warren Buffett knows. People call him the Oracle. That means he's like a wise old man who knows money secrets. This story is about a young boy and the secret rules he learned. These rules helped him become one of the richest people in the world. Are you ready to learn his secrets? Chapter 1. Warren grows up in Omaha. Omaha is a city in America. It is in the middle of the country, near a big river called the Missouri River. A long time ago, Omaha was a new city, growing fast. People came there to start new lives. The Buffett family was one of these families. Warren Buffett was born in Omaha in 1930. Even as a very young boy, Warren loved numbers. He liked to count everything. He and his friend Bob Russell would sit on the porch and write down the numbers on cars. They would look at the newspaper and count how many times each letter was used. Warren's memory for numbers was amazing. If you said a city name, he could tell you how many people lived there. But Warren didn't just like numbers. He loved money. When he was very little, his aunt gave him a special money holder. He wore it on his belt with pride. He started his first business when he was only 5 years old. He sold chewing gum to people walking by his house. Then, he sold lemonade. He didn't sell lemonade in front of his own house because his street was quiet. He went to his friend Bob's house because Bob lived on a busier street. Warren knew where he could make more money. Warren and Bob were always thinking about business. They counted bottle caps from a soda machine. They wanted to know which soda was the most popular. They collected piles of bottle caps in Warren's basement. Warren looked for used golf balls on the local golf course. He cleaned them and sold them. He went to the racetrack and looked for tickets that people threw away by mistake. Sometimes he found a winning ticket. In the summer, Warren and Bob carried golf clubs for rich people at a golf club. They earned money for this work. Warren was always thinking about how to make money. He would look at all the cars going by Bob's house and say, "What a shame we are not making money from all these people." It was as if he thought everyone should be making money all the time. Where did this love for numbers and money come from? Warren's family was not very rich, but they were good at business. His father, Howard Buffett, worked as a stockbroker. Howard taught Warren about stocks and bonds. Maybe this is where Warren got his ideas. But Warren's sisters said it was in his genes, in his family history. The Buffetts were known for being good at business and for being careful with money. The first Buffett in America came from France. He was a weaver. Later Buffetts were farmers. They were ambitious but also careful. One of Warren's great-great-grandfathers, Zebulon Buffett, wrote a letter to his grandson who was starting a grocery store. Zebulon told him to be careful and not spend too much money. He said that saving credit was more important than money. Warren's grandfather, Ernest Buffett, owned a grocery store in Omaha called Buffett and Son. It was a successful store. Ernest was a very strict boss. He did not like to pay his workers much money. He thought people should work hard and be careful with money. Warren's father, Howard, was different from Ernest. Howard was a kind man. He was interested in ideas and politics. He became a congressman. But Howard also taught Warren about money and business. It was Howard who showed Warren the world of stocks and bonds. But maybe it was just Warren himself. Maybe he was born with a special talent for numbers and a dream of being rich. From a very young age, Warren Buffett was on a path to become one of the richest men in America, starting right there in Omaha. Chapter 2. Warren's Teenage Time. Working and Dreaming. Warren was not happy when his family moved to Washington, D.C. He was 12 years old. He missed his friends and his town, Omaha. Fredericksburg, Virginia, where they lived first, was very different from Omaha. Warren felt homesick. He didn't like his new school. He even pretended he had an allergy so he could go back to Omaha. But Warren was a smart boy. He found a way to feel better in Washington. Work. He got a job delivering newspapers for the Washington Post. Every morning, early before school, Warren delivered papers. He kept a record of how much money he earned. He even paid taxes. He didn't let his dad pay them for him. Soon, one newspaper route was not enough for Warren. He got more routes. He delivered 2 newspapers, the Post and the Times-Herald. He had many papers to deliver every day. He was very organized. He knew the best way to deliver papers in big apartment buildings. He was like a little businessman. Warren was making good money, about $175 every month. He saved almost all of it. When he was only 14, he used $1,200 of his money to buy some farmland in Nebraska. Even as a teenager, Warren was thinking about big investments. School in Washington was still not his favorite thing. He wasn't a bad student, but he wasn't the best either. He liked numbers and money much more than school subjects. But he did make some friends. One friend, Don Danley, helped Warren start another business. Warren and Don bought a used pinball machine. It cost $25. They fixed it when it broke. Then they put the machine in a barber shop. People paid to play the pinball machine, and Warren and Don shared the money with the barber. It was a good idea. Soon they had pinball machines in 7 barber shops. They called their business Wilson Coin Operated Machine Company. They were making about $50 a week. Warren was very happy. Even with his businesses, Warren was still thinking about the future. He knew he wanted to be rich. He told his friends he would be rich before he was 35 years old. He read books about making money. His favorite book was 1,000 Ways to Make $1,000. He dreamed of being like the people in the book, making lots of money. After high school, Warren's dad wanted him to go to college at Wharton School of Finance in Pennsylvania. Warren didn't want to go. He thought college was a waste of time. He already knew about business, he thought. But his dad said he should go. So, Warren went to Wharton. But Warren didn't like Wharton very much. He thought he knew more than his teachers. He said the classes were too easy. He spent more time at a stock brokerage office than in class. He wanted to learn about stocks and how to invest money. He was still searching for the best way to become very rich, like he dreamed of since he was a little boy in Omaha. He was a teenager with big dreams, and he was working hard to make them real. Chapter 3. Warren meets his teacher. Warren finished college and knew what he wanted to do next. He wanted to learn from the best investor in the world. This man was Benjamin Graham. Warren had read Graham's book, The Intelligent Investor. It was like magic for him. He knew he had to study with this man. Benjamin Graham was a very important person in the world of money. People called him the father of value investing. He wasn't like other people on Wall Street. Wall Street is a place in New York City where people buy and sell stocks. Many people on Wall Street tried to guess which stocks would go up. They listened to rumors and tried to be clever. But Graham was different. He believed in numbers. He believed in facts. He thought that a stock was like a piece of a real business. And like any business, it had a real value. Sometimes, the price of a stock in the market was lower than its real value. Graham looked for these stocks. He wanted to buy stocks that were cheap, like finding a good shirt on sale. Graham taught that you should always have a margin of safety. This meant buying stocks for much less than they were really worth. Imagine you want to buy a house worth $100,000. With a margin of safety, you would only pay $50,000 or $60,000 for it. This way, even if you made a mistake about the real value, you would still be safe. Warren wanted to learn everything from Graham. So he applied to Columbia Business School in New York, where Graham taught. He was accepted and very excited. Finally, he would meet his teacher. When Warren arrived at Columbia, he was not disappointed. Benjamin Graham was just as amazing in person as in his book. Graham's classes were not boring lectures. They were like stories. Graham explained how to find companies that were very cheap. He showed them how to read company reports and find the real value of a business. Graham used a funny story to explain the stock market. He talked about Mr. Market. Imagine you have a partner in a business named Mr. Market. Every day, Mr. Market comes to you and tells you what your share of the business is worth. And every day, he offers to buy your share or sell you more. Sometimes, Mr. Market is happy and excited. He thinks your share is worth a lot. Other days, Mr. Market is sad and scared. He thinks your share is worth very little. But Graham said that Mr. Market is often foolish. He lets his feelings change the prices too much. Graham taught that a smart investor doesn't listen to Mr. Market's feelings. A smart investor figures out the real value of the business for themselves. Then, they buy when Mr. Market is sad and prices are low. And they sell when Mr. Market is too happy and prices are high. Warren loved this idea. It made sense to him. It was logical and based on numbers, just like he liked. He felt like he had finally found the right way to invest. Benjamin Graham became Warren's hero, his most important teacher. Warren learned from Graham not just how to pick stocks, but how to think about business and money in a completely new way. Warren was ready to start his own journey, following the path of his teacher. Chapter 4. Starting Small, Thinking Big. After learning so much from Mr. Graham in New York, Warren decided it was time to go home. He wanted to start his own business in Omaha. Omaha was his city. He knew it well, and his family was there. In 1956, Warren went back to Omaha. He was ready to be his own boss. He didn't want to work for someone else anymore. He had a plan. He would start his own investment company. This company would be a partnership. This means it would be like a group of friends working together with their money. Warren didn't have a lot of money himself, but he had saved about $9,800. This was a lot of money for a young man in 1956, but not enough to start a big company. So, Warren talked to his family and friends. He told them about his plan. He explained what he had learned from Mr. Graham. He said he could help them make their money grow. Some people trusted Warren. His sister Doris and her husband gave him money. His aunt Alice also invested. Some friends, like Chuck Peterson, and even his wife's father, Mr. Thompson, joined the partnership. In total, 7 people gave Warren $105,000. Warren added his own $100. It wasn't a huge amount of money, but it was a start. Warren called his company Buffett Associates Limited. He worked from his house. He didn't have a fancy office. He used a room in his home as his office. It was very simple. But Warren was not worried about fancy things. He was focused on numbers and investments. Warren started to use Mr. Graham's ideas. He looked for companies that were cheap. He wanted to buy stocks that cost less than they were really worth. He was like a treasure hunter, searching for hidden value in the stock market. One of the first things Warren did was to write letters to his partners. He wanted to tell them how he worked. He said he would not tell them exactly which stocks he bought. He said he would work hard and try to make their money grow. He promised to be honest with them. He wanted them to trust him. In the first year, 1957, Warren's partnership did well. The money grew by 10%. This was better than the stock market did that year. People started to see that Warren knew what he was doing. He was making money for his partners. Slowly, more people wanted to join Warren's partnership. Doctors, neighbors, and even people he knew from college started to invest. Warren's partnership was growing. He was still working from his house, but his business was becoming more successful. He was starting small, but he was thinking big, just like he always dreamed. He was taking the first steps on his journey to becoming a very rich and famous investor. Chapter 5. Money Grows Bigger. In the 1950s, Warren's money business started to grow. It was called Buffett Partnership Limited. It was like a club where people gave Warren their money, and he would use it to buy stocks. These people were called partners. Many of them were Warren's family and friends. At the beginning, it was a small group, but it started to get bigger. Warren was very good at making money grow. He was like a gardener, but instead of plants, he grew money. Every year, the money in the partnership became more. This is called growing money or compounding. It's like when you put money in a bank and get a little extra back each year. But Warren was doing it much faster. People started to hear about Warren and his money business. They saw that he was making money for his partners. They wanted to be partners too. Once a year, Warren had a meeting in Omaha. Omaha was Warren's hometown, a city in the middle of America. These meetings were not like normal business meetings. They were special. People came from far away to Omaha for these meetings. They wanted to hear Warren talk about money and business. It was like going to see a famous singer or a sports star. These people were investors, people who gave Warren money to invest. They were excited to learn from him. Warren's meetings became famous. People called them pilgrimages. Pilgrimages are like special trips to important places. For people who wanted to understand investing, Omaha was becoming a very important place. At these meetings, Warren talked about his ideas about money. He explained how he chose stocks to buy. He used simple words, like talking to friends. He didn't use complicated Wall Street words. He talked about companies like they were real things, not just numbers on a screen. He made investing seem easy to understand, even if it wasn't always easy to do. One of Warren's early successes was with a company called Sanborn Maps. Sanborn Maps made maps for cities and towns. It was an old business, and not many people were interested in it anymore. But Warren saw something special. He saw that Sanborn Maps had money and things worth more than the price of its stock. It was like finding a treasure hidden in an old house. Warren bought Sanborn Maps stock because it was cheap. It was an example of his style of investing. He liked to buy things that were good value, things that were worth more than they cost. He didn't try to buy stocks that were popular or exciting. He looked for stocks that other people didn't want, but that were actually good businesses. Warren was very patient. He didn't buy stocks to sell them quickly. He bought them to keep them for a long time, like a farmer plants seeds and waits for them to grow. He believed that if he bought good companies at good prices, the money would grow over time. And it did. Year after year, Warren's partnership made money. His partners became richer, and more people wanted to join Warren's club. The small business in Omaha was becoming something much bigger. Warren Buffett was showing the world that simple ideas, hard work, and patience can make money grow very big indeed. His journey from a boy who loved numbers to a respected money manager was just beginning, and the city of Omaha was becoming known as the home of this special man and his growing money magic. Chapter 6. Warren takes over Berkshire. Warren was always looking for good companies to buy. He liked companies that were cheap and not doing very well right now, but could be better in the future. One company that interested him was called Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway was a textile company. Textile companies made cloth. A long time ago, textile companies in America were very important. But times changed. People started buying clothes made in other countries where it was cheaper to make them. Because of this, many textile companies in America were losing money. Berkshire Hathaway was one of them. It was not a famous company anymore. It was not making a lot of money. Most people on Wall Street were not interested in it. But Warren was different. He looked at things in a different way. He looked at numbers, and he saw something interesting in Berkshire Hathaway, even if it was not doing well right now. He started to buy shares of Berkshire Hathaway stock. A share is like a small piece of a company. The more shares you buy, the more of the company you own. Warren bought a few shares at first. Then he bought more. He kept buying shares. Other people did not understand why Warren was buying Berkshire Hathaway. It was not a popular stock. It was not a company that everyone was talking about. But Warren did not care about what other people thought. He had his own ideas. He believed that Berkshire Hathaway was cheap, and he believed that he could do something with it. Slowly, Warren became the biggest owner of Berkshire Hathaway. He had more shares than anyone else. This meant he could make big decisions for the company. In 1965, Warren took control of Berkshire Hathaway. He became the boss. Now, Warren was in charge of a big company. It was not the kind of company he dreamed of as a boy. It was not a bank or a technology company. It was a textile company that was having problems. But Warren saw it as a new beginning. He knew that the textile business was not easy. Berkshire Hathaway was losing money. It had old factories. It had competition from other companies. It was not a company that was growing fast. It was a company that needed a lot of help. But Warren was not afraid of a challenge. He had taken over Berkshire Hathaway because he saw something special in it. He did not know exactly what he would do with it yet. He just knew that he was in charge now, and he was ready to work hard. He was ready to use his ideas to make Berkshire Hathaway something new. Even though it was a textile company, it was the start of something much bigger for Warren Buffett. It was the start of Berkshire Hathaway becoming the company we know today. Chapter 7. New Businesses, New Ways. Warren Buffett started with old, cheap companies like textile mills. But he was learning new things. He started to buy different types of businesses. These new businesses were not always cheap in price, but they were strong and special in other ways. One of these new businesses was an insurance company called Geico. Insurance is different from making clothes. With insurance, people pay money now to protect themselves if something bad happens later, like a car accident. Geico was special because it sold insurance in a new way. Most insurance companies used salespeople who went to people's houses. Geico sold insurance directly to people, often by mail. This was cheaper and different. Buffett liked that Geico was different and saved money. He understood the numbers of insurance, and he saw that Geico was a good business, even if it wasn't cheap in the old way. Another new business was See's Candy. See's Candy was a candy company in California. They made chocolates and sold them in nice shops. See's was not cheap, but it was a very good business. People loved See's Candy. It was a famous brand. Before, Buffett looked for stocks that were cheap based on numbers, like how much money the company had in the bank. With See's Candy, he saw value in something else, the brand name. People trusted See's Candy and were happy to buy it. This was a new idea for Buffett. He learned that some businesses are valuable because people love them, not just because they have a lot of money in the bank. He was starting to think about things that were not just numbers. Then, Buffett bought a newspaper company, the Buffalo News. Newspapers are also very different from clothes or candy. The Buffalo News was the main newspaper in a city called Buffalo. It was a strong newspaper, and Buffett saw that people needed news. He thought that a good newspaper in a city was like a special business because people always needed to know what was happening. It was like a toll bridge. People had to use it. This was another kind of strong business, different from Geico or See's Candy. These new businesses, insurance, candy, newspapers, were different from the old textile mills. They were not always cheap stocks. They were not always about numbers on a paper. They were about strong brands, special services, and being the best in a city or a market. Buffett was learning to look for companies that were strong in different ways. He was starting to understand that a good business was not just about being cheap. It was about being special, being loved by customers, or being needed by people in a city. He was still using Mr. Graham's ideas of value investing, but he was changing how he saw value. He was learning that value could be more than just numbers. It could be a famous brand like See's Candy. It could be a needed service like insurance from Geico. It could be an important part of a city like the Buffalo News. Warren Buffett was finding new ways to make money, not just by buying cheap things, but by buying good, strong businesses, even if they cost a bit more. He was growing as an investor, and Berkshire Hathaway was growing with him into many different areas, not just textiles anymore. Chapter 8. Warren's Words from Omaha. Every year, people waited for Warren Buffett's words. These words came in letters, sent to everyone who owned a part of his company, Berkshire Hathaway. These were not normal company letters. They were special. People called them Warren's letters. In these letters, Warren talked about money, business, and how he thought about things. He didn't use hard words or talk like a Wall Street expert. He wrote like he was talking to a friend, like someone from Omaha, the city where he lived and worked. People all over the world read these letters, not just big business people, but normal people who wanted to understand money better. Why? Because Warren had a special way of explaining things. He made complicated ideas seem simple. He used stories and jokes. He talked about things everyone knew, like hamburgers and candy. One important thing in Warren's letters was his rules for investing. He didn't say to follow the crowd. He said to think for yourself. He didn't say to try to get rich quick. He said to be patient and think for the long time. One of his big ideas was to understand what you are buying. Imagine you want to buy a small shop in your town. You would look at the shop, right? You would see if it makes money. You would see if people like it. Warren said to do the same with stocks. Don't just buy a stock because everyone else is. Understand the business behind the stock. Is it a good business? Will it do well in the future? Another rule was to buy things for less than they are worth. Imagine you want to buy a car. You want to pay a good price, maybe even a low price. You don't want to pay too much. Warren said the same for stocks. Find companies that are good, but where the stock price is low. This is called value investing. It's like finding a treasure when others don't see it. Warren also talked a lot about being honest and having character. He said that in business, like in life, it is important to be someone people can trust. He showed this in his own life. He was known for being honest and fair in his deals. Because of his letters, people started to call Warren the Oracle of Omaha. An oracle is someone who can see the future or give wise advice. Omaha is his hometown. So, the Oracle of Omaha meant Warren was a wise man from a normal place who understood money in a special way. People would travel to Omaha just to see him and hear him speak at his company's yearly meeting. It was like a special event. They wanted to learn his secrets. They wanted to know how he became so successful. But Warren always said the same thing. There were no secrets. It was about simple rules, hard work, and being honest. It was about thinking for yourself and being patient. It was about the words he wrote from Omaha, words of wisdom that anyone could understand. His letters were like a school for investors, teaching them not just about money, but about how to think and how to be in the world of business. And it all came from a normal man in a normal city, Omaha, Nebraska. Chapter 9. Wall Street gets fast and Warren stays slow. In the 1960s, Wall Street changed. It was a time of go-go. This meant things were fast, exciting, and sometimes a little crazy. Think of fast cars and loud music. That was Wall Street in the 60s. Before, people on Wall Street were careful. They looked for good companies that were selling for a low price. This was Warren Buffett's way, the way he learned from Mr. Graham. It was slow and steady. But in the 1960s, many people wanted to get rich quickly. They didn't want to wait. They wanted to buy stocks that went up fast, even if the companies weren't very good. It was like a race. Everyone wanted to be first and make the most money right now. These new investors were called go-go investors. They were young and confident. They didn't worry too much about the old rules. They bought stocks that were popular, stocks that everyone was talking about. They didn't always look at if the company was making money or if it was a good business for the long run. They just wanted the price to go up today or tomorrow. One famous go-go investor was a man named Fred Carr. He ran a performance fund. This meant he tried to make money very fast, every month, every week, even every day. He bought stocks that were new and exciting, like companies making new electronics. People said he was very cool and clever. He made a lot of money for a short time. But Warren Buffett was different. He watched Wall Street get faster and faster, but he didn't change his style. He stayed slow and steady. He didn't like the go-go way. He thought it was too risky. He didn't believe in getting rich quick. He believed in good businesses and buying them at the right price, even if it took time for them to grow. In his letters to his partners, the people who invested money with him, Warren wrote about this new Wall Street. He said he felt out of step. He didn't understand this new fast way of investing. He said it was like a fashion, something that is popular for a short time, but then goes away. Warren said he would not change. He would not buy stocks he didn't understand, just because they were popular. He would not try to make money fast if it meant taking big risks. He said he would stick to his old way, the slow and steady way, even if it meant making less money for a while. Warren was worried about this new Wall Street. He thought it was like gambling. People were buying stocks not because they were good businesses, but because they thought other people would buy them and push the price higher. It was like everyone trying to guess what everyone else would do. Warren thought this was not real investing. Real investing was about finding good businesses and being patient. It was not about following the crowd or trying to get rich quick. Warren Buffett stayed true to what he believed, even when everyone else on Wall Street was going go-go. He knew that slow and steady wins the race, especially in investing. He was happy to be out of step if it meant staying smart and safe with his money. Chapter 10. Trouble on Wall Street. In the 1980s, Wall Street was a very exciting place. People were making a lot of money, and things were changing fast. Warren Buffett was watching all of this from his office in Omaha. He didn't like all the changes. He thought people were taking too many risks. He was worried. One day, something bad happened at a big company called Salomon Brothers. Salomon Brothers was a very important company on Wall Street. They bought and sold bonds for the U.S. government. It was a job that needed to be very honest and careful. But in 1991, people found out that a trader at Salomon Brothers, a man named Paul Moser, had done something wrong. Moser had made secret bids in government bond auctions. This was against the rules. It was like cheating at a game. When people found out about this, they were very angry. They lost trust in Salomon Brothers. The government started to investigate. Salomon Brothers was in big trouble. The company could have closed down. John Gutfreund was the boss of Salomon Brothers. He was a strong man, known as the King of Wall Street. But even he didn't know what to do. The company's stock price went down. Customers started to leave. Salomon Brothers was losing money fast. John Gutfreund knew he needed help. He called Warren Buffett. Buffett was a big investor in Salomon Brothers. Gutfreund asked Buffett to come to New York and take charge of the company. Buffett was surprised. He was happy in Omaha. He didn't want to run a big company on Wall Street. But he knew Salomon Brothers was important. If it closed, it could hurt the whole financial system. Buffett thought about it. He knew it would be hard work. He knew it would change his life. But he also knew he could help. He decided to say yes. Buffett went to New York. He became the temporary boss of Salomon Brothers. He had to fix the company and win back people's trust. It was a big job. Many people on Wall Street were watching. Could Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, save the King of Wall Street? The first thing Buffett did was to say sorry. He told everyone that Salomon Brothers had made a mistake. He said they would follow all the rules now. He wanted to show people that Salomon Brothers was honest again. Buffett also had to make changes inside the company. He had to make sure that something like this would not happen again. He changed the way people were paid. He told them that honesty was more important than making money quickly. It was a difficult time for Salomon Brothers. People were worried about their jobs. The company was losing money. But Buffett stayed calm. He talked to the employees. He told them things would get better. He showed them that he was there to help. Slowly, things started to improve. Customers started to come back. The government saw that Buffett was serious about fixing the problems. Salomon Brothers started to earn money again. Warren Buffett had saved Salomon Brothers from disaster. He showed Wall Street and the world that honesty and trust are very important in business. He also showed that even in a time of trouble, following simple rules and having a strong character can help you succeed. It was another amazing chapter in the story of Warren Buffett. Chapter 11. Buffett and Coca-Cola. Warren Buffett was always looking for good businesses to buy. He liked businesses that were easy to understand. He also liked businesses with strong brands, names that everyone knew and trusted. One day, Warren started to think about a drink everyone knew: Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was everywhere. People drank it in America and in many other countries too. Warren saw people drinking Coke at restaurants and stores. He saw Coke ads on television and in magazines. He knew Coca-Cola was a very popular drink. He started to learn more about the company. He found out that Coca-Cola was not just a drink. It was a very strong brand. People all over the world wanted to drink Coke. They liked the taste. They knew the name. This brand was very valuable. Warren thought about how Coca-Cola sold its drink. They didn't sell it directly to people in stores. Instead, they sold syrup to other companies. These companies, called bottlers, mixed the syrup with water and put it in bottles and cans. Then they sold the drinks to stores and restaurants. This business model was very good. Coca-Cola didn't need to spend a lot of money on factories to bottle drinks all over the world. They just sold the syrup, and everyone wanted to buy their syrup because of the famous Coca-Cola name. Warren also learned that Coca-Cola was growing around the world. More and more people in countries outside America were starting to drink Coke. He read that in many countries, people drank much less Coke than in America. This meant there was a lot of room to grow. If people in other countries started drinking Coke as much as Americans, Coca-Cola would sell much, much more. Warren started to see Coca-Cola not just as a drink, but as a business with a great future. He thought about how people's tastes change. Fashions change. Technology changes. But Coca-Cola stayed popular for many, many years. He believed it would stay popular for many more years too. People always wanted something cold and refreshing to drink, and Coca-Cola was perfect for that. He thought about the numbers. Coca-Cola made a lot of money. It made money every year. It was a business that made money in good times and in bad times. People still drank Coke even when the economy was not doing well. Warren knew that many people on Wall Street were looking for the next new thing. They wanted to invest in technology companies or companies that were changing very fast. But Warren liked businesses that stayed the same. He liked businesses that were simple and predictable. Coca-Cola was like that. It was a simple drink. It was a predictable business. He decided to buy a lot of Coca-Cola stock for Berkshire Hathaway. It was a big investment, one of the biggest he had ever made. Some people thought it was too much money to spend on a soda company, but Warren saw more than just soda. He saw a great brand, a simple business, a company with a long future all over the world. He was buying not just a stock, but a part of a business he really believed in. He was buying a piece of the famous red and white Coca-Cola sign, a piece of every bottle and can, and a piece of the global dream of Coca-Cola. For Warren Buffett, Coca-Cola was not just a drink. It was a very, very good investment. Chapter 12. Giving his money away. Warren Buffett became very, very rich. He made billions of dollars by investing in companies. But for Warren, money was not just for keeping. He thought a lot about what to do with all his wealth. He didn't want to just leave a huge pile of money to his children. He felt that too much money could be bad for them. Warren believed that his money was like claim checks. He said these claim checks should help everyone in society, not just his family. He saw his wealth as something that should be used for good. He didn't think it was fair for very rich people to just keep all their money to themselves and their families when there were so many problems in the world. At first, Warren started a small charity called the Buffett Foundation. It was a start, but it was small, just like his first gum stand. But Warren was thinking bigger. Then, something amazing happened. Warren decided to give away most of his fortune to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This was a big surprise for many people. The Gates Foundation was started by Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft, and his wife, Melinda. It was already a very big and important charity, working to help people all over the world. Warren chose the Gates Foundation because he believed they could use his money to do the most good. The Gates Foundation works to fight diseases in poor countries and improve people's lives in many ways. Warren thought Bill and Melinda Gates were very smart and effective people, just like the managers he admired in business. He trusted them to use his money wisely to help millions of people. Besides giving to the Gates Foundation, Warren also created smaller foundations for each of his 3 children. These foundations also give money to good causes. Warren wanted his children to be involved in helping others too. Even though Warren was giving away almost all of his money, he was still involved in how it was used. He became a trustee of the Gates Foundation and helped guide their work. He didn't just write a check and walk away. He wanted to make sure his money was making a real difference. Warren Buffett's decision to give away his fortune was a landmark event. It was one of the biggest acts of giving in history. It showed that for Warren, being rich was not just about having a lot of money. It was about using that money to make the world a better place. He used his talent for making money to build a huge fortune. And then, he used that fortune to help others in a huge way. This was the final chapter in his journey, showing that for Warren Buffett, true success was not just about being rich, but about giving back. Chapter 13. Easy Life, Rich Man. Warren Buffett is a very rich man. He has a lot of money. But if you met him, you might not know it. He does not live like most rich people. Warren Buffett lives a simple life in Omaha, Nebraska. His house is not big and fancy. It is a normal house on a normal street. He bought this house a long time ago for not much money. He still lives there today. It is not a mansion. It is comfortable, but not special. Inside his house, things are simple too. He doesn't have expensive art or fancy cars. He likes to eat hamburgers and drink cherry Coke. These are not expensive things. He is happy with simple food. He drives a normal car, a Lincoln Town Car. It is not a sports car or a very new car. Warren Buffett works in a simple office in Omaha. It is not in a tall glass building in New York. It is in a normal office building. His office is not full of computers and screens. He likes to read books and papers. He uses a calculator, but not a fancy one. He keeps things simple at work, just like at home. For Warren Buffett, his work is his hobby. He loves to work. He enjoys picking stocks and making money grow. This is what makes him happy. He says his work is his canvas, like a painter's painting. He spends most of his time working, reading, and thinking about businesses. His wife, Susie, was very different. Susie was a warm and friendly person. She loved people and music. She was a singer. Susie liked to be around people, while Warren liked to be alone with his work. Susie made their home a warm and welcoming place. She made sure Warren was comfortable, even though he was often lost in his own thoughts about business. Later in his life, Astrid Manx also came into Warren's life. Astrid was a quiet and kind woman. She also helped Warren with his simple life. Like Susie, Astrid made sure Warren had what he needed at home, so he could focus on his work. Both Susie and Astrid understood that Warren's work was very important to him. Warren Buffett does not need fancy things to be happy. He has a lot of money, but he does not spend it on luxury. He gets pleasure from his work and from his simple life in Omaha. He is happy with hamburgers and cherry Coke. He is happy in his normal house. He is happy when he is working and thinking about businesses. For Warren Buffett, being rich is not about spending money. It is about the fun of making money and watching it grow. It is about the game of investing in business. His simple life shows that true wealth for Warren Buffett is not in things, but in his work and the way he lives each day, focused and with purpose in his own way in Omaha. Chapter 14. Warren's Money Secrets. How did Warren Buffett get so rich? Many people want to know his secret. It's not magic, and it's not always easy. But Warren has some important ideas that helped him become very wealthy. One big secret is called value investing. Imagine you go to a shop and see a toy car. The shop owner says it costs $10, but you know that toy car is really worth $20. If you can buy it for $10 and sell it later for $20, you make money. Value investing is like this, but with companies instead of toy cars. Warren looks for companies that are selling for less money than they are really worth. He wants to buy them at a low price. He says it's like buying $1 for 50 cents. To find these cheap companies, Warren does a lot of work. He reads many books and reports about businesses. He wants to understand how a company makes money and if it is a good business. He only buys companies that he understands well. This is another secret. Know what you know. Warren says he stays inside his circle of competence. He doesn't try to invest in things he doesn't understand, like new technology when he was young. He sticks to businesses he knows, like simple companies that sell things people always need. Another important thing is patience. Warren is very patient. He doesn't buy a stock and sell it next week. He buys stocks to keep them for a long time, maybe 10 years, maybe forever. He waits for the right time to buy, and then he waits for the company to grow. He says the stock market is like a farm. You plant seeds, but you need to wait a long time to get fruit. Many people are in a hurry to get rich, but Warren knows that good investing takes time. People also trust Warren Buffett. This is because he is known for being honest. He always tells the truth to his investors. He doesn't try to trick people. He is careful with other people's money, as careful as he is with his own money. People trust him because they know he is honest and wants to do what is right. This trust is very important in business. But maybe the biggest secret is that Warren loves his work. For Warren, investing is not just a job. It is a hobby and a passion. He enjoys reading about companies and finding good investments. He says he feels like he is painting a picture when he is working. Because he loves what he does, he works very hard and he is very good at it. He doesn't just work for the money. He works because he loves the game of investing. So Warren Buffett's secrets are not really secrets. They are simple ideas: value investing, patience, knowing what you know, honesty, and loving your work. Anyone can learn these ideas. But it takes time, work, and a special kind of person to use them like Warren Buffett and become one of the richest people in the world. Chapter 15. The story continues. Warren Buffett's story is not finished. Even now, he is still working and learning. He is like a very old tree that keeps growing taller and stronger. After many years in business, Warren could have stopped. He had more money than most people could ever dream of. He was famous and respected. But Warren did not stop. He loved his work too much. For him, picking companies and making smart investments was not just a job. It was his passion, his game, his art. In his later years, Warren continued to do what he did best: investing. His company, Berkshire Hathaway, became even bigger. It owned many different businesses, from ice cream to airplanes. People called it a giant company, a monster company, but Warren ran it with a small team of people in Omaha. He did not need a big office in New York or lots of fancy meetings. He still worked from his simple office, reading reports and making phone calls. One big change in Warren's later life was giving away his money. For many years, he saved and saved. He became known for being careful with money, even his own. But then, he decided to give most of his fortune to charity. He gave billions of dollars to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and to other groups. This was a surprise to many people. Why would someone so rich give almost everything away? Warren explained it simply. He said his money would be more useful helping others than staying with his family. He believed that his children should make their own way in the world, like he did. He wanted his money to do good for people who needed it most, especially in health and education. This act of giving made Warren even more famous. People saw him not just as a rich investor, but as a kind and generous man. He became a symbol of something good in the world of business. He showed that you could be very successful and still care about others. Even as he got older, Warren's mind stayed sharp. He continued to read and learn every day. He still loved to explain complex ideas in simple words. His annual letters to the people who owned stock in his company became famous. People all over the world read them to learn about business and about life. Warren became more than just an investor. He became a teacher, a guide, and an example. People wanted to know his secrets. They came to Omaha to listen to him speak. They read books and articles about him. He was called the Oracle of Omaha because people believed he had special wisdom about money and business. But Warren always stayed humble. He never forgot his simple beginnings in Omaha. He still lived in the same house he bought many years ago. He still ate hamburgers and drank cherry Coke. He never let money change who he was. Warren Buffett's story is still going on. He shows us that with hard work, smart thinking, and a good heart, you can achieve amazing things. He reminds us that true success is not just about money, but about making a positive difference in the world and staying true to yourself. His story is an inspiration to people everywhere, showing that even in a complex world, simple values can lead to extraordinary results. Conclusion: Warren Buffett's story is truly amazing. He began as a young boy in Omaha who loved numbers and money. From small jobs like selling lemonade and delivering newspapers, he learned about business. He met Benjamin Graham, who taught him how to invest by finding good companies at low prices. Buffett was very patient and invested for the long term. He didn't follow the crowd or try to get rich quickly. He was always honest and believed in value. These simple ideas helped him become one of the richest people in the world. But it's not just about the money. Buffett showed us that you can be successful and still live a simple life. He taught people about investing and about good business. He became a symbol of the American dream, a person who achieved great things through hard work and smart thinking. Warren Buffett's story is more than just about money. It is about character, patience, and staying true to your own ideas. These are lessons that everyone can learn from, whether you want to be a great investor or simply live a good life. His way of doing business, based on simple rules and strong values, will continue to inspire people for a long time.
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.